from Great Day on the Water Guide Service. Welcome to this episode of Fishing and Hunting the North Country. Today we're looking at topwater fishing. Second cast here. Had a bass, didn't even actually have to move it. I must have dropped it right on top of his head. And he came up and hammered it instantly. As soon as we got here, we're seeing some bass splashing and surfacing. We're seeing minnow activity by the top. We can see some sunnies. So we've got stuff going on up high here. Not a big one, but a nice start to the morning. We'll go into tips and on tactics and locations and everything. That one was on a Rapala skitter prop in kind of a shad color. All right, my son here. Can you get him aboard, buddy, or do you want Grandpa to net him? Grandpa, why don't you net him with all those hooks? Okay. Yeah. My son here is working a different topwater than what we showed earlier. He's fishing the old-fashioned jitterbug. And we'll talk about that and show what that is. You can see we're getting just a little more ripple on the water this morning, so not so much a popper, but either a prop bait like that skitter prop, or a swimming across the top bait like this jitterbug. All right, the way to go. You get him there? Ooh, that's a nice one there. All right, we'll get a picture of him. Oh, I guess we won't. But there's the jitterbug. Yep, in kind of a frog pattern. Nice job. All right, my son just had another good one. Slammed that jitterbug here. All three of us heard it. Looks like a good one there. We're gonna haul those treble hooks. We're gonna net him. All three of us heard that, buddy. Whoom. He didn't hesitate. Dan, here's a needle nose. He's probably gonna need that. Okay, nice 18.5 inch. Largemouth there, and away you go. He's got to splash you just to say thanks. Nice job, buddy. Good job with the net, Dad. We got him. And they're still slurping in those top waters. You can see we've got just a little more ripple on the water than when we first started. But it doesn't have to be glass calm to use top water. We just use ones that make a little more disturbance. I've got a prop bait going that makes a propeller disturbance and noise, and Parker's got the jitterbug going. We got a couple of the prop baits going, and a jitterbug that kind of swims and wobbles across the top. And we're seeing minnows all over and fish feeding on them, and it's working out good so far. Get the net too, Dad. Got him. All right, this one came completely out of the water when he came up on this prop bait. This is a 5-pounder. Barely hooked. Get into the net here. All right, you hit that. Got him in the net there. He hit that skitter prop, kind of in a shad color, a silver with a little bit of blue, a little bit black. That's a beastie there. We'll get a measure and a picture of him, and we'll get him back. All right, 20 incher, a little skinny, 4 pounds, but we'll let him go. He came oh, he's ready to go right now. He came completely out of the water when he hit that bait. Yeah, we better net him. He's got a face full of hooks. All right, we had another one. Just in the last 3 minutes here, I had one on, and he came off part way in. And then I had one miss. He actually knocked the lure out of the water, but didn't get hooked. And this might have been the same one, because I threw right back in that area on the next cast. And he got it this time. Yeah, he got him all full of hooks there. We'll net him. All right. We'll get him out and take a look at him. Okay, get that one out of the net there. Oh, it came off in the net. All right. There we go. Yeah. Another 16 incher. Not quite as big as the last one, but we'll take him. We'll get him back in. 18.5 incher. Nice fish. Should be ready to go here. There he goes. All right. I think again you can see we got a little ripple. We might as well talk about where we're at. You're on a weed line here, and you know fish will position different places on the weed line. Right now, this morning, we have a little ripple, but not too much wind. Sun's getting up there. Well, the topwater bite's going to dry up here in a little while, but we've got lots of minnows we're seeing shooting around up here, and we're seeing minnows jumping sometimes. I think they're maybe getting chased. So these bass are up instead of the outside edge of the weeds, they are on top and towards the inside edge of the weeds. So we have caught every fish but one in under 5 feet of water. We got one in about 7 feet, but pretty much everything's up. We caught them as shallow as 3 feet. That biggest one was in 3 feet. So again, because we have a little ripple, we're not using a small little popper. We're using a bigger prop bait and that bigger jitterbug that kind of swims and wobbles to still make enough disturbance with a little bit of a ripple that they can see us. Parker's got another good one here on the topwater. On that, this one's on that skitter prop. That's another nice fish. Oh yeah, nice 17 probably there. All right, I'll get you that needle nose. We'll get him off. I'll get a picture of him and get him back. All right, that was a 17 incher. Oh. And he's gone. Nice. We figured out we're averaging over 18 inches of fish here. We didn't get it on video. On the jitterbug, Parker had one come up that was well over 20, and he flew out of the water about a foot behind the bait. He just missed it. So we got a good average size going here. Not quite as big as some of those we've been getting, but got to keep things honest and show you catch all sizes. This is still a bad fish. 14.5 incher probably, 14 and a half. Less aggressive strike. You can probably tell the sun's getting higher. On a sunny day like this, the topwater bite's going to be more early. If you get a nice cloudy or hazy day, you can do it all day. Yeah, 14 incher. And this was a much less aggressive strike. He just kind of slurped the bait in. You just heard a whoop, and the bait went under the water instead of some of the other ones have been coming up and flying out of the water, hitting it. Yeah, a tip for topwater, if you get a relatively calm day, you got to do it early, or if you can get a calm and a cloudy or hazy day, then the bite will go a little later. But once the sun gets real high here, then it's going to start to slow down. But we'll just take advantage of it while it's going. We're just hammering them here. All right, my son's got one here on the skitter prop again, a little nicer one. Net him with a face full of treble hooks. Good tip when you're fishing topwater baits like these skitter props, skitter pops, jitterbugs, stuff that's got treble hooks. Net is not a bad idea to get that fish in. Need a needle nose. Here you go. Versus trying to reach down and lip that fish with, especially they're T-boning some of these baits and they got a hook in each side of the mouth. So we'll get him off and get a picture of him and get him back. All right, that was another 17 incher and away he goes. Nice job, buddy. Thumbs up. And my dad Nate's got one on a skitter prop. Gonna net him again because all those treble hooks. All right, I heard that. He's kind of came up and slurped that in. Yep. Well, I was fishing with a bigger bait, but now I changed my mind whenever Parker and I were getting them all. Yeah, they're feeding up on all these little minnows darting around up by the top right now. Even the, with the sun getting high, it's 9:30 or 9:30 in the morning, and a little bit of ripple. They're still feeding up, and that's what's working. There you go. You get all sizes. That's another 14-incher, but
Based off catching them up on topwater.
yeah, which is, boy, it's fun no matter what size they are.
Yeah.
All right. That's we got to be at about 15 fish already here on Topwater this morning. And my son Parker got another nice one here. Just came up and hammered that skitter prop. I know you can probably hear the wind whistling in the camera. It seems like a lot of wind for Topwater. We're up on the calm end, so we don't have a lot of waves, but rule of thumb, by this time of the morning with a high sky, they would be done. With this much breeze, the topwater bite would be done, but rule of thumb means rule of thumb, not hard and fast, and you got to do what the fish tell you to do. Hey, 19.5-incher there, 5 pounds worth going back. Oh, there he does the little jump and tail lock. Nice job. All right, we're knocking around good here.
All right, got another one here. I think I can swing this one, Dad. It'll be okay. More like a 14, 15-incher, but eating up that skitter prop yet. Bad one. Came up, slurped it in. I'll talk a little bit about the rod and reel and line. We're using, well, we're actually using both here. I'm using a bait caster. My son and my dad using spinning rods. I'm using a 6.5 foot on the bait cast. We're using a extra fast action rod. Medium power is all you need, but extra fast action meaning not the bend doesn't go very far up the rod, and that's so when you're doing that jerk of that top water with this skitter prop, you can get all the action, all your pull. The rod doesn't get much, so all your pull gets to the lure. We're also using fire line, 14-pound test fire line. No stretch on that, so again, between the stiff rod, no stretch line. You move your rod or your arm and your rod a foot or two, you get a foot or two of movement on the bait. You don't lose anything in line stretch or too much rod give. Medium power is all you need to fight them. When Parker was using the jitterbug, then we were using just a fast action, a little softer tip, because you're reeling that bait across the top with a tight line, so then it'll give a little more so they can pull it in. But really that's 10 to 14 pound line is good. That no stretch of the super line like the fire line is really important, so you get all the action to your lure and don't have any line stretch. And one other tip on this as you're doing it, if you're using the something like a jitterbug or a buzz bait, well then your line's going to be tight, a little softer rod, fish hits, he pulls it in and gets it. On these top water baits like the skitter prop or the skitter pop, a prop bait or a popper, when you jerk it and let it sit on the paws, a lot of times I'll hit it on the paws, don't set the hook when you hear the splash or see the fish come up on it. You'll react too quick a lot of time and you'll pull that bait out before they can get it in. Sometimes they're kind of fumbling with it when they come up on it. So you see the splash, you hear the splash, see the splash, just sit there, let the fish get it down, let him pull the rod tight, and he'll pretty much set the hook for you. All right, you can probably see and hear the wind's picking up, so our topwater bite's drying up for the day. Sun's getting nice and high too. Just want to go over equipment a little bit. Okay, we used a couple different baits today. We used a prop bait. This one happens to be a Rapala skitter prop. You can see I've got a few colors of them in the Plano Edge box here. This color today seemed to be the hot color. It's just a shad color. It's got a white belly, black back, and then kind of silver and blue sides. We also caught fish today on the old classic jitterbug. We had enough wind that this prop bait, when you just throw this out and you give it a jerk and it kind of goes under just a little bit, and this blade spins and churns up some water, and it makes kind of a sploop noise. And then you let it pause, and some of the fish, it hit the water, must have landed right on top of them. They grabbed it, some hit it right as you were going to jerk it, some took it during the pause. Then the jitterbug here, this is a swimming topwater bait. You cast it out, and that big bill there, you reel it, and it goes back and forth like this as it comes across, makes a splooshing sound and leaves a wake behind it. Those were the two better baits today because we had a little bit of ripple on top of the water. If you have dead calm conditions, then you could go with a popper, with a wrap of a skitter pop, and you throw this out and give it a pull, and it shoves a bunch of water forward and makes a splooshing noise, and then it sits. A little harder to pick this up. Doesn't make quite as much water disturbance when you've got a ripple. This would be a little calmer bait. Could have run a buzz bait too. Buzz bait's just like a spinner bait with bent blades that sit and splash at the top. But today it was definitely the jitterbug and the skitter prop. Great fun way to catch fish, and a good lesson to learn about rule of thumb. Rule of thumb, I try to do topwater fishing when we've got cloudier or hazy conditions early in the morning and not much wind. Today we were supposed to have more wind, and it was going to be bright, brilliant sunshine, so actually our plan was to fish live bait on deep weed edges for some walleyes, maybe some largemouth and smallmouth mixed in, some pike. We have all four on this lake. But as we got started with that, the wind wasn't much this morning first thing, and we saw activity going up on top of the weeds and up towards the inside weed edge. We saw minnows skipping around, we saw bass splashing. We could definitely see there were bass coming up and feeding. So we said, let's go give that a try first. Well, we got up there and we got them. So you got to be flexible. You got to be able to adapt to what the fish are doing. And even with a good ripple came up, and we're getting some clouds now, but it was pretty good sunshine. Wouldn't have been my first thought topwater, but this is what the fish were doing. And we caught a lot of bass. We missed. We had a couple of really big ones come up and blow up on a skitter prop and not get it, and come up and blow up right behind the jitterbug and miss it. But had a nice average size. We were averaging over 3 pounds of bass on the topwater baits today. Again, I hope you learned some good tips. First, to be adaptable and do what the fish are doing, and then how to target and figure out if bass are on the deep weed edge or if they're up on top or on the inside edge. And you can fish topwater if their conditions are right in a lot of depths. Clear water, calmer conditions, you can bring bass up 8 or 10 feet. If it's dirtier water or you got more chop, then you got to target fish that are shallower so you can get that bait a lot closer to them. But don't be afraid to pull that topwater bait out when the conditions are right. We had a blast. My dad loves to fish spinner baits, and he said enough's enough, and he switched to that topwater bait and caught a couple of beauties himself. For Parker Smutka behind the camera and Nate Smutka, I'm Troy Smutka. Great Day in the Water Guide Service. Thanks for watching this episode of Fishing and Hunting the North Country. We'll see you next time. Until then, good luck, and I will see you out there somewhere.